Today in the studio, folks, I've got a real treat for you. Ryan Alford, what's cracking?
What's up, Brad? Happy to be here.
Thanks for coming. Now, for those of you that don't know who Ryan is, Ryan's the CEO of Radical Marketing Agency. He's responsible for some of the, I'd say, biggest known campaigns, or well-known, if not biggest known campaigns out there that you'd never hear of. Radical Marketing Agency helps people obviously market, but the agency that he's developed has helped NFL, Audi, AT&T, Verizon. Who else?
Verizon, Denny's, Firehouse Subs.
All the big dogs.
I've worked with all of those brands. Radical's growing. We're starting to get relationships with brands ourselves as an entity. But in my 20 years, Apple, NFL, Verizon.
So you're like Mad Men. Draper. You're like a Draper.
I spent 5 years on the Manhattan beat in New York City, cutting my teeth with the largest brands in the world, and you learn a lot. I mean, so Madison Avenue is where it all happens.
If you guys want to follow him, go to @Ryan Alford, ALFORD, @Ryan Alford on social media. Website radical.company, and he's got a podcast called The Radcast. Brings on all the big wigs, talks a lot of stuff. What's it mainly about though? Like marketing techniques?
Yeah,
like that?
Marketing's the filter. It runs through the middle. But we try to we say if it's radical, we cover it. But business starts with business. We've got some big hitter CEOs. We had Will Ahmed, the founder of Whoop, which is a fitness tracker, the largest and fastest growing fitness tracker band. And so let's from him to even Mr. Tim Story's coming on shortly, which you had on.
Oh, Tim Story.
Yeah.
What's his story?
He's got a great one.
So highly experienced marketing executive who've had the pleasure of working with and developing some of the best campaigns known to man. My question, and that's why I was excited to have you on. Why? Number one, I like marketing. I didn't realize it until recently, but marketing I think is more important than sales. I was a sales expert. I thought, dude, nothing's more important than sales. Nothing's more important than sales, but that's not necessarily true. Why? Well, if I got a ton of kick-ass salespeople but no one to talk to, well, now I'm just sitting there with my dick in the hand. But if I have marketing down and some average salespeople, I can still make a killing. Most businesses need marketing. They don't have a money problem. They have a marketing problem.
Yep. And the biggest problem is there's been this mixing where people will think sales and marketing are the same thing. You got sales, I love seeing the title, Director of Sales and Marketing. And, that's great if you can have that skill set, but 99% of salespeople aren't marketers. They're just trying to close. But you got to tee it up. And look, marketing, I like to say, marketing writes the check and sales ultimately has to cash it, make it happen, what you've promised in your messaging and, getting them there. You get them to the front door and you got to finish the deal.
Yeah, well, if there's companies listening, not if there are entrepreneurs listening to this right now. Marketing, folks, I'm telling you, after 20 years of doing business, if I could go back, do it all over, marketing. Young dudes call me or DM me, what would you do if you're just getting out of college? Marketing. What do you think I should study? Marketing. How do I get rich? Marketing. Like anybody that knows how to market can write their own ticket.
It's true. But it is also because, now in this age of social media and everything else, personal branding is so important. And if you can understand consumer behavior, which is where marketing starts, it's centered in, consumer behavior and how you want people to think.
Yeah.
What do you want them to do? And if you, learn and educate yourself on, what those triggers are, it makes you powerful in any industry.
Yeah. What is today? Wednesday? Yeah, it's Wednesday. You know how I can make this drop tomorrow? You want to be dropped fast or no?
Drop it fast, baby.
Well, then I need to mention that I have a real success event coming up. And what made me think of that was one of the sections, because I'm talking about, it's just 100 people downstairs. Tickets are almost gone. So by the time you hear this tomorrow, if we drop it tomorrow, we have to.
Yeah.
If not tomorrow, then Monday. But there's not many tickets left, but it's called real success. And the reason I called it that is because there's a lot of people out there, they don't know how to get there. Well, I got people that built 8, 9, 10-figure companies coming. We're going to break it down workbook style, workshop style, and really show people what real success is and how to achieve it very quickly in 2021. And there's 4 main umbrellas that we're talking about, and one of them is personal branding. Because, dude, it's vitally important to understand personal branding, and most people don't. They think they don't have a personal brand, but they do. It just sucks.
Yep.
So what do you consider a personal brand?
Well, it's everything that you do. In this day and age, everything is on display. Whether you want to or not, you used to could hide behind this desk and do your job as a CEO or the stock guy. But now you're out there whether you want to be out there or not, and to not be leveraging all of that opportunity. You start relationships with people before you have a conversation.
That's right.
They get to know you. They get to know who you are. Whatever you want to be, but it's on display and you control the message. And
if you're smart,
but you got to But social media has created this amplification opportunity. And people ask me all the time, "What do you do?" My answer is I amplify stories. That's what I do. That's what marketing is. There's a story to be told. Also, but then the second part of this, I help businesses create stories, because a lot of people think they just do something, but there's a story there. So you create that story, you develop the strategies for that story, and then you amplify it with marketing and media.
So folks, if you guys want tickets, you better go get them. Go to bradlee.com/real success. And get your tickets, because we're going to teach you how to get real success. One of them is personal branding. Shit, I might even have you come back and speak at it.
Let's do it.
But at the end of the day, guys, personal branding is one of the key areas that if someone said, Brad, I need to triple my business, quadruple my business, or I die, what would you have me do? Number one, focus on and create and or establish a personal brand and leverage the shit out of it. Because, dude, with a personal brand, man, you can sell 1,000 t-shirts. You can sell all your products and services. You can establish relationships, like you said, prior to them even knowing who you are. And it's critical that a company does it. Most companies, they're trying to brand their company, when in reality, they should be branding themselves. You know what I mean? I'm getting a lot of business for Lightspeed because of my personal brand. They're like, shit, I didn't even know you did that. But once I found out, boom, I had to use you because they follow me or they like me or they resonate with our, with my personal brand. What percentage do you think like you could grow a business based on establishing a personal brand for someone?
500% growth. If you do personal brand versus, if you showed me, if you put, and I'm some guesswork at this, but just what I've seen, if you show me line up 10 companies and someone in the C-suite, usually the CEO or founder, if they have a strong personal brand and they want to be out there versus the companies that don't, I'd bet my career that the ones that their founder is out there and has a personal brand, that it's 5 to 10x.
At least.
At least.
Yeah, because look at Elon Musk. They follow Elon. Nobody follows Tesla. And If they do, it's courtesy because of Elon.
Even Apple was Steve Jobs. Everybody, and yes, their products, and they got a lot of things right. In creative development, he had a lot of talent around him. People don't do that, but it was Steve Jobs.
Branson.
Yeah.
For Virgin. I don't follow Virgin, but Branson.
That's right.
Who else is a good example of that?
Well, in our space, the greatest, and I say ours, in the agency space, the greatest self-promoter is Gary Vaynerchuk.
Oh, yeah. Gary V's another perfect.
And he's got 10 or 20 companies now, all with,
based on his personal brand.
It's all personal branding.
That was all for him, wasn't it?
Yeah. And look, I spent 20 years in the business, and it took me 16 to realize the importance. So I've spent the last 4 years developing my own. I give it myself as my own personal example. I'm verified on the platforms. I post, 2,000 times on Instagram. We film and document everything, and I don't love it all the time, but I know that it's a door opener.
You have to do it.
You have to do it.
Yeah, like this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one of those.
Exactly.
And when people ask me, what do you do? I say, well, dude, you get yourself one of those, and you have another team that'll take it and edit it. And you're lucky if you get one that can do it all, but not always they can. So build a team. Well, I can't afford it. You can't afford not to if you're looking to be big in business. I don't care if you're a plumber. If you're a plumber out there building a plumbing company, dude, I want to know who you are. You know what I'm saying? Landscaper, chiropractor, doctor, dentist. You own a car dealership. There's a guy here his real name's Josh Tobin, but he goes by Chop. The dude's personal brand sells him more cars than the ads, the actual ads. And now he's got multiple dealerships, richer than a foot up a bull's ass, and everybody goes there because that's Chop's place. So, dude, and he's been building a personal brand for years. Like, I don't even know if I don't think he did it intentionally. It was accidental, but he did it nonetheless. And now he's got, he's at a TV show. He's got music labels. He's got, he's buddies with all the freaking celebrities, and his dealerships waste everybody else's dealership. Why? Because everybody wants to go buy it from him. And even though he's not there selling it, they want to buy it from him.
That's right.
So, folks, while you're listening, figure out how to build a personal brand, or go grab somebody like Ryan that knows what they're doing, invest the time and money, and start making a personal brand.
I got a good story there if you got a second.
Go.
Dentist, you said dentist. So a good friend of mine, 2018, this is 3 years ago, he came to me, and I was in between starting Radical and working for another agency. I was a chief marketing officer and was starting it. And he's like, hey, man, can you help me? And because I had been telling him, like, dude, you need to get your brand out there. Here's a tripod. I literally gave him a tripod and said, start filming yourself. Get yourself out there. Dentistry's boring. No one likes dentists. He's a good-looking guy. He had some unique skill sets. And, well, one day he texts me, and I was managed like his Facebook page. I was in between. I was just helping him out, and I was like helping him with his Facebook page. And the girls in his office told him that he should do this dance. There was a dance challenge for In My Feelings with Drake. Dude can dance. Dude's good looking. He filmed himself. He said, never went out the office, and he sent me the video. He's like, I don't know if I should post it, or don't know if I should put it out there. It's like, dude, you haven't posted this? He posts it. He gets it out there, and literally 1 million views within 24 hours. I called my contacts because I worked in New York forever. I had us on Good Morning America, Inside Edition. I had us on Al Jazeera TV in the Middle East. We had 500 million impressions from him doing dance challenge videos. We did dance challenge videos for a year. He's the most watched non-celebrity on Facebook in 2018. And he's a dentist in Greenville, South Carolina. And
packed business.
What do you think it did to his business?
Yeah.
He had just started his practice. And he went from 0 to quadrupling his business, essentially, and staff and otherwise, from doing dance challenges. It has nothing to do with dentistry, has nothing to do with cavities, but it was all about getting him out there and doing something interesting. And we got viral. I don't sell viral moments, but I do help people get out there and promote themselves.
But look what it did for him.
Personal branding.
And personal branding. Folks, better pay attention. What else do you think? Because I get a lot of entrepreneurial people following, listening. What do you think you could give them as far as, dude, if you're just starting a business, or you got a pretty good one but it hasn't hit the scale mark, or you're trying to, get it going, what marketing techniques or what things could you give them to, like, give them a little love?
Well, it's kind of similar whether it's a business or personal branding. Content development is everything. And developing content, whether that's the written word, whether that's the spoken word, like this podcast, or it's video, content development is key number one in the world that we live in. And no matter if you're small, medium, or large business. And
now explain it for the people in the back. Content development.
Writing and showcasing your knowledge, whether in what you do, being the subject matter expert.
So I was going to go to copywriting, which is part of that. Yes. Because again, to me, dude, copywriting. Like if someone said, where in marketing should I go? Well, number one, obviously digital, like media buying, being able to retarget and do all that tricky shit that they're out there doing. So you're chasing people around social media.
That's what we do. Yeah.
And then copywriting, because dude, the offer and the words that you use, but that's content.
But you know what you just described? It's I would say our secret sauce. What you have is you have all these digital agencies now, and it's all ROA, performance-based marketing. We're blending the art and the science is what differentiates us. It's why we've turned over the fewest clients in our industry, because you have to have both. Everybody wants just the data. Everybody's data hungry, data crazed. You have to have the art, which is what you're describing, the words or the graphics, combined with the data and the dorky stuff, the retargeting and all that. You got to have both. It's art and science.
But if you do that, man, you can scale your business to ridiculous levels.
Yes.
People come to me when they want to sell courses. First thing I do is say, how much you spending on ads? They say nothing. I know I can help them immediately. Yep. They're not spending anything on ads. That's crazy. And then most companies are spending a shit ton on ads, but nothing's really happening. They're breaking even, maybe even losing some, so they stop. And in reality, if you know what you're doing, or call an agency that does, like yours, and spend the same amount of money, you get a return on the ad, return on ad spend. So a lot of times you might go out there and do it yourself and end up with, 1-to-1 if you're lucky. And by the way, I know another story where someone was doing 1-to-1. They got up to like 10 grand a month. They were doing 1-to-1. And for those of you that don't know what that means, it means they spend 10 grand and they only sold 10 grand worth of shit. So basically they're breaking even. And so they quit because they're breaking even. And I'm like, dude, if you can get 1-to-1, spend $1 million a month, spend 10 million a month. If you can get 1-to-1, because it's branding. Everybody now knows your face. They're more familiar with you. They're more ready to do a transaction with you eventually. So building brands to me takes time. And if you can get a 1-to-1 or better, dude, borrow all the money you can and spend as much money as you can advertising.
Attention is leverage. And the only way to get attention is to amplify your message with either paid approaches or PR. And because less than 10% of your followers see any of your posts, whether you're a business or a person. And the only way to, you can spend all this time. I see companies all the time spend all this money on content development, doing all these things, and they post it to their channels with very limited ad spend. And no one sees it. No one hears it because, 3% of their, hey, they got a good following, got 5,000 people, which is good for a business, but 150 people saw it. It's not enough scale.
And they're wondering why it's not working.
Yeah. And, and you nailed it on the head. What people, another tip, the 1-to-1 is perfect because you've got to get the impressions. You have to get it. And some impressions are worth more than others, someone coming on your show. Hey, that impression is worth a lot more than a display ad. But it's all about brand impressions at the end of the day. You've got to stay top of mind and awareness because attention is fleeting.
Top of mind right there. That's value. Top of mind, man. Follow up, emails, nurture, see you on social media. I've had people call me and go, dude, you're blowing up. I'm like, why do you say that? Dude, I see you everywhere. Well, they don't realize. Well, that's because you went to my website and I'm retargeting your ass. Like, I'm not blowing up. No one else is seeing me but you, dumbass. But they think their perception is, dude, I'm getting famous. I'm getting big, which is kind of cool. If you're not familiar with retargeting, you better, again, reach out to someone who is, like freaking Radical Company. Is Radical Company the agency?
Yeah, Radical. Yeah. And we're just Radical. I mean, radical.company is the website, but we're Radical,
But you want
marketing at the speed of now.
Are you dropping nuggets on marketing on your social media?
Oh yeah.
So folks, go at least follow Ryan Alford at Ryan Alford, and start listening and watching and learning and freaking seeing what it takes to build, grow, and scale your business. Because I'm telling you, if I could go back, that's exactly what I would have mastered. See, what I did, dude, is I started helping people build training systems. And so they were the freaking rock stars. I stayed in the back. I was going to go be a rock star. I had the best shit out there, still do. But I was going to go be the name. I was going, oh man, I'll be Tony Robbins and, you know, all these big names. And then when I got out there, I realized, like, dude, I got to have a lot of freaking money. They're well known. They have bigger budgets, but their delivery sucks. And I had accidentally built a delivery system with Lightspeed. So I'm like, maybe I'll just sit in the back and let them go be the star. And that's what kind of blew me up to a big business. But it also kept me in the back. Nobody really knew who I was, which didn't matter because I'm making millions of dollars. But at the end of the day, I didn't know to go learn the marketing. That was their job. You go learn marketing. And they did learn marketing. And then pretty soon I see them blowing up. Next thing I know, you know, the funnels and all the shit, they're learning it all. And I'm just sitting here, you know, hosting their technology and making sure their training systems are kick-ass, but did not learn marketing. After about, I don't know, maybe 2-3 years ago, I realized, dude, I need to freaking learn this marketing for not only myself, but because Lightspeed's barely marketed anything, but for customers that don't know how to do it, we need to create a service that can help them do it. So I started looking into it, dude. There's a lot to it. People don't understand how much there really is as a skill set. Even placing media, buying media, putting ads on Facebook. People don't know how to retarget. They don't know how to create lookalike audiences. They don't know how to freaking, you know, trigger zaps over to HubSpot. They don't know whether to use HubSpot or Infusionsoft, or now they're calling it Keep or Sales freaking Force or whatever. That's just placing media, let alone graphics, let alone copy. And then the bigger thing that you touched on, content development. Because, dude, content development is massive. You can take that video and turn it into 80 different pieces from the same video. Most people don't know that. So they're out there trying to make 80 different videos. When you can make one and chop it up, create the different formats for TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or transcribe it, turn it into a blog, or, you know, turn it into an audio and call it a podcast, because people do that. It's like crazy, dude.
Yeah. But atomization of content is what I call that.
But see, it's second nature to you because you've been doing it 20 years, dude.
That's right.
People don't know this shit.
They don't, but we're running into this issue now. Like, a lot of the larger brands are bringing and starting agencies in-house. And what happens is it can work, but the problem is you can't get the subject matter experts in every, you know, the complexity you just described. The media guy, the copy guy, the writer, the developer, the Shopify developer, the back end, it's gotten so complex. And people are bringing in-house, they think they can hire 2 people and have the marketing team. Well, it gets stale because the creativity doesn't thrive. And you want to see creativity die, make creative people employees of the company they're developing creative for. No. You know, when you're on the payroll of the company you're developing the ads for, it only gets so interesting. And there's always exceptions to the rule, but it's hard to develop. And you know what an agency does, and what we do is, you know, we've got 25 people under one roof that you don't have to buy 100% of them, but you might need them. Like, we have clients that end up, every single person in our agency ends up touching their business because I need that many skill sets to get it done.
You got to get done right.
That's right.
That's the key. It's not, you don't need that to get it done. You can hire some dipshit that took a freaking Ty Lopez course.
Yeah.
Get it all done.
Yeah. YouTube. There's YouTube for everything.
Then you end up with like a mailing list that goes nowhere, does nothing. You know, a link breaks and you got to figure out what the problem is, or the site's not secure, so no one wants to give a credit card. It gives warnings. Stupid shit.
Yep. Basic
shit. But that's what a lot of these small businesses are doing, dude. They're trying to save money by hiring in-house, and or they're putting the marketing hat on 1 or 2 people, and they're unaware that they're losing tons of opportunity and deals because they didn't step up. I don't think you should shortcut marketing. What do you think?
No, it's so important, and you know, everyone's short-sighted. What happens is people, especially we work with some startups. We work with established companies as well. They don't build the startup budget very rarely has the right marketing budget for branding over time. It's all driven on performance immediately
because they have to.
Yeah, and that's great, but it should have been in the business plan to know that, hey, this is going to take some time to do. And, in committing to it, it's just confusing. People get overwhelmed. And when they get overwhelmed, they just pull back from doing it, And then the other thing is that's just killing it is, attention spans are so short. So we live in a TikTok world. So you've got to really kind of get in and out and be interesting and entertaining. People don't want, your logo to be the size of this table or, you to hit them over the head with how great you are. They want you to entertain them, make an impact. You got to solve their problems first. But, a lot of brands just get caught up in, serving themselves and not the customer. And when you hire an agency, you're hiring us to put the customer first. And if you do that, then it all comes together.
When you get hired by a company, do you do like an onboarding? You got to figure out who they are and help them kind of almost craft their brand.
Yeah. It starts with that whiteboard session, like here, the 3 questions. How do you want your customers to think, feel, and act?
Think, feel, and act. Why is that important?
How do we what lasting branding impression are we trying to, what do we want them to think about the brand?
What about when it's a personal brand? Like we were talking in my room,
Yeah.
Bradley, what do I want people to think? I don't know. Like that takes some thought and an exercise alone. What do I want them to think about Bradley? I could just come out with a list of words, I want them to think I'm cool. I want them to think I'm trustworthy. I want them to think I'm, authentic. Like explain, like if it's a personal brand, what does that mean? Like how do you want people to think when they go to you?
Yeah, I want them to think that I'm a marketing expert, that I have credibility.
So if I'm a plumber, I want, and I'm a personal brand talking about, I want people to think I'm the best plumber on earth. If I'm a plumber.
Exactly. Or, unless you have some differentiated service, like what happens is we're talking about commodities. I mean, there's a million agencies, there's a million plumbers, there's a million whatever, but all of them haven't embraced the opportunity, like we talked about with personal branding, to tell that story. And so you want people to have a specific thing. Do they, like for you, you are an expert in a lot of things, but you're an enabler. So an enabler and how you want people to think of you as a guy that gets shit done, that connects people. I take this knowledge, get it from the people that have it to the people that need it, and you're the enabler, the great enabler. And that, displaying that and making people think that you are that, are different than making you just think Brad Lee's one hell of a guy. Not that you can't do both.
Yeah, or he's a sales trainer.
Exactly.
Because I hate that when people say, oh, he's a sales trainer. Number one, I'm not a sales trainer, dick. But number two, but I am also. So again, it's a big question. I think people need to take more seriously. What do I want people to think? What do I want them to feel? And then what do I want them to do?
Exactly. If you answer those 3 questions, there's your marketing plan.
Think, feel, and do. Think, feel.
Because then just your call to action. Think is your big picture, your brand. Feel is the emotion that you want to convey to people. And conveying someone, again, back to your example, an enablement versus I'm just a badass. Those are 2 different, you're going to do that differently to make people feel that way. And then ultimately, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to buy something? Do you want to buy a book? Do you want to sell cell phones? Do you want to sell plumbing supplies? What's the call to action?
Do you help people develop that if they don't know?
Yeah, that's a lot of what we do is strategy development and business planning.
And how'd you get into it? How old are you, first of all?
43.
43. You said 20 years ago you've been doing this.
Yeah. So I went to Clemson in marketing. I was like one of those few people. I was a marketing major at Clemson and then went straight into the ad agency business out of school.
Your own or working for agencies?
Working for agencies. I work for other people. I cut my teeth. Like, don't get me wrong, entrepreneurship's gotten cool. Everybody thinks they can be an entrepreneur, and that's wonderful, and I'm not chopping anybody off. But I didn't want to fake it till I make it. I learned from other people. I absorbed for 17 years, learning, cutting my teeth, and then working in the C-suite with some of the largest brands, learning from them while helping them. solve real world marketing issues. And then I started Radical. There's got to be some steak with the sizzle.
Experience.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're real.
I think.
Now, see, that's my brand.
Yeah.
Real. What do you think I should do with that? Because when I ask people, hey, what do you think when you think of Brad Lee? Every one of them never has one not said, in many of the words they say, real. Now, what does that mean, though? How can I leverage real?
Yeah, that doesn't really mean anything to me.
It doesn't mean anything.
Hey, he's a cool guy that speaks his mind and he doesn't give a shit what people think. Okay.
Yeah, so how do I leverage that?
Yeah.
Because it's a good brand. I like it. I'm real, and I like real, and I think people are looking for real. But I'm like what you said. It's like, where does that go? Like, how does that make you want to buy something from me?
No. I mean, what are you, the fake Brad Lee? I don't really care about him either.
Have you seen him?
Is there another one?
Yeah.
I mean, so it's like,
dude, go look it up.
Yeah.
He's funny as shit.
Well, it's kind of like the Ohio State, the real Brad Lee, like that to me,
It's kind of cheesy almost.
Well, I'm not calling it cheesy. It just doesn't, I work off of business strategy and not emotion in these kind of discussions. So I'm not emotionally vested in one or the other. I'm just don't know what real means, I know what it's trying to mean. But
well, here's the way it came out is when Twitter came out a long time ago, some dick friend of mine had my Twitter handle, Brad Lee, and you spell my name Lea. So he had Brad Lee. Well, he started tweeting stupid shit, like I think I'm cool. I pound the ladies and just dumb shit. And I'd get him, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He'd text me, and I'm like, this is stupid. So I told Twitter, hey, this is bull, and they wouldn't do anything. So I signed up at the real Brad Lee so I could start combating his stupidity. And then it was the real Brad Lee. And then pretty soon people just started saying the real Brad Lee. And I'm like, okay. Then because I made training modules and I was on people's computers, I was traveling around showing up to car dealerships a long time ago. And when I showed up, they'd be on the phone. They'd say, Brad Lee is here to see you. And then all the receptionists, when they were telling the GM, they'd say, no, it's the real Brad Lee.
Well, you created a brand around it.
So,
but,
on accident,
but how many Dwayne Johnsons are there? Like, does he feel like he needs to be the Dwayne,
he
the
was
real
The Rock.
He was The Rock. But he wasn't the real Rock.
But I guarantee you there's a lot of people, famous people, that have the real in front because someone took their
that totally is a username.
Yeah, like if Brad Lee was available, I'd just be at Brad Lee.
Yeah.
I almost want to be at Brad Lee, but now a freaking guy that came in on the podcast about a year ago said, no, dude, now you got to own that shit. You already built it. People know about you. When you come out on stage, they say it. And I don't tell them to say it. I'm not the real Brad Lee. It's like, I think it's kind of freaking cheesy, but people are telling me to own it now. So now when I get when a new Instagram or social media comes up, I go get at the real Brad Lee because now everybody is looking for it.
Well, in a world that's so politically correct now, so I'm going to go ahead and talk out of both sides of my mouth. Any good marketer does that. So many people are PC with everything. There's so many people that embrace and gravitate to someone like you that has that persona of being real, because there's so much fake out there and there's so much politically correct and not just speaking your mind that people can really relate to that. So I think it makes sense on that level. I just would want to probably take that another level, another layer deeper,
What would you do if you were me? Would you start peeling it off?
I would eventually, because Brad Lee stands on its own. You are the Brad Lee. You know what I mean? So eventually, but
you heard of BitClout yet?
Yeah.
So everyone keeps telling me to get on BitClout, which I think is dumber than shit. But I thought Bitcoin was stupid too, so I'm not necessarily the expert there. But I went in there and I'm like, should I get the real Brad Lee or should I get Brad Lee? And so they said the real Brad Lee, and I got Bradley. Bradley.
I don't know if can you get them both, and you got it in your back pocket.
Well, you're supposed to have one account per phone, so I guess I could use my other phone.
Maybe. just so you have it. Because you eventually, I don't think in 10 years you want to be the real Brad. I don't think so. I think you just want to be Brad Lee.
I want to be Brad Lee right now. I am Brad Lee right now. But see, again, the real Brad Lee is dropping bombs. I didn't tell the dude to put that. That's the marketing people telling me to
and
do
look,
that.
I like the consistency. Once you own it, you've owned it now, and people know you as that. And you spend a lot of money impressioning that.
I do want to drop it, though.
I would want to drop it, too.
I'm going to see if Instagram has just Brad Lee. I wonder if they have it or would give it to me.
Yeah, probably. You can buy it, probably, from whoever has it.
I'm going to find that out. I'm going to start going just Brad Lee at Twitter. Now, do you think people won't be able to find me or no?
It'll take some time. I mean, you have the scale and the money to make it happen.
But you don't find my website, The Real Brad Lee. It's just bradlee.com.
There you go.
See, so I think deep down, I'm a marketing man.
You are. You're a good writer.
I just need to think up, the copy and the concept, and then I need a team that can pull it off, because I can come up with copy and concept quick, but not detailed. What do you do at the agency? Are you like the driver, or are you just running it?
Business development and strategy.
So I have got creative directors and all that.
Creative directors, developers, writers, account people. Good account people will make or break your business, because if you don't, they'll go out the back door as fast as they come in the front, because you got to service it. You know, customer service, and then you do have to have talent. So, but yeah, I'm I get in those first few meetings with clients and kind of game plan. I kind of help create the map, the roadmap, and then my team will execute. And it doesn't mean they don't have the brain or doing it either, but I'm the one in the room that's done it for 20 years and a lot of brands of all sizes. So, yeah.
So when you got out of Clemson, you started working, did you ever watch Mad Men?
Oh, yeah.
Was any of that type of shit real?
Some of it.
I mean, was it crazy?
It was overblown, but there's definitely some, the ad space has some characters. The characters they had in that show, at the agencies, kind of the personas that were displayed, there are those types of people still. It's, I had a bar in my office, but I was not Don Draper.
Could you make a bunch of money doing that?
Oh yeah.
What was an average ad agency exec making?
In New York?
Yeah.
$500,000.
Just to freaking come up with ad campaigns?
Well, I mean, my job was, I came up in account management. You get boxed in at agencies. They put you in boxes. They like to put you in boxes. You're the account guy. I was the account guy to start out at an agency, which means you don't do the ads. You do not play in the creative sandbox when you're the account guy. But I'm a natural marketer too. And so it was difficult for me, because I was good at writing headlines. I was good creatively, but I was a good account guy too. So I could wear a lot of hats, but came up through account, then got into strategy, and then was in business development and things like that at agencies. So I'd play one of those roles, but I was always the creative account guy. And then, when I started my own agency and work with others, I was always kind of called in. I was always in the room for ideation sessions. Hey, we got an idea session, got a client coming in, I'm in the room, because I'm good at just on my feet creating ideas, and whether they're creative headlines or just a business idea. You give me a problem, I know how to distill it into parts that are manageable.
Yeah, it says here, problem solver.
Yeah.
And that's about, which I always tell people, you want to get rich, solve problems. Because that's really what the whole transaction's for. If you want to help, if you want to be a millionaire, solve a million problems. Or solve one big one. But that's really what it boils down to. Dude, if I can solve your fucking problem, you're going to pay me.
That's right.
And if I can solve it cheaper than I charge, now we got a business. So all I got to do is find problems. Most people are avoiding them. Most people run from them. Most people hide from them. When in reality, you need to find them. You need to look for problems and then get really good at solving them. What got you good at solving problems?
That's back to the time, cutting my teeth and being in the room and putting myself in opportunities to learn, for others. I learned from some of the best creative minds in New York and across the country, sitting in the room when the first Apple phone is launching, sitting in the room when we came up with the Droid campaigns with 3 other agencies that was Android solving the problem of Apple kicking their ass. And Microsoft had a real fucking problem because Apple was selling, 85% of all smartphones. So we come up, and I didn't develop the brand, the idea for the name Droid, but we were in the room as partner agencies coming up with solutions and ideas for that. And then, I think you're a natural marketer. I do think there's some things that are innate in people. I think you could be innate, you're naturally good at something, you're naturally creative, you're naturally a problem solver. I think I've got paint with a few different brushes, but then I haven't been afraid to kind of stick my nose in it. Like, I was like 28 years old sitting in the C-suite of Verizon, I had no business belonging there, but I just was confident and would go in there and open my mouth, like they'd say, hey, we're doing this. And, I'd go, well, why don't you think about it this way?
What do you think is your biggest claim to fame?
I mean, I think I've started 2 8-figure companies now. Did a startup called iDrive On Demand, and we were doing 7 figures in 7 months. It flamed out a little bit. It became Carvana. Like it's what is Carvana doing digital retail. And then now with Radical being one of the fastest growing digital agencies in the Southeast, I think I'm getting known for that. I think, but my trajectory in the ad agency business, kind of the resume speaks for itself with the brands that I've worked with and the results that they've had. And so, but now we're translating it to small and medium business. It's people want to put these thoughts that, well, it's what's big brands do in a small brand. Yeah, the ad spend's different, but the problems and the way that you get to the solution and then developing the marketing around it is not that unique.
What do you mean?
Whether you're a brand with $100,000 budget or a brand with $100 million budget, you still have marketing challenges. You still have messaging challenges. You still have branding challenges. And the way you get there might be different.
Go ahead.
But the way you solve it is the same for any of them.
What do you think of Nike and Lil Nas X Devil Shoe?
I fucking hated it.
Yeah, but what's going on?
Yeah, what's a mess? I mean, Lil Nas just doing whatever he wants, and
Why would Nike allow that?
Well, they're suing him.
Who is?
Nike.
So
suing
Nike's
the company
not,
that made the shoe. Because
they just dressed up a Nike.
Yeah, they dressed up a company working with. It wasn't Lil Nas. Literally, he put his name all over it. They put blood in the shoe. I mean, it's like the week of Easter. You launched this thing.
Well, not only that, but you seen the video, and he's licking and humping the devil, and it's
gross.
Weird, and it's it doesn't make sense. And then Nike, I'm thinking, why would Nike partner with Lil Nas X to make a damn devil shoe?
They didn't. They're suing the company that made the shoe, and I'm sure Lil Nas is named in it as well. So there's a lawsuit already.
So they're just really buying a off-the-shelf Nike and then turning it into the Lil Nas X Satan shoe.
There's a lot of them. I mean, there's a guy named on the Instagram called Shoe Surgeon. He literally works on Nikes and turns them in. There's big money in shoes. And this is I think a poor execution of that, but it's what it is. They, created 100 of them or 1,000 of them. They sold out of them, but Nike's suing the hell out of them.
Yeah. Cause one time there was a Betsy Ross shoe that Nike made.
Yeah.
And everybody was up in arms cause the whole, racist crap. So they're like, no Nike, no Betsy Ross shoe. But then I thought, see, dude, they're not doing a very good job coming out with shit like that ain't us. You sure that ain't them?
Positive.
All right. Well, then there's people boycotting Nike over that.
Yeah.
If I were Nike,
Nike hasn't taken a big enough stand. That's because that's why you don't know it. They've said, oh yeah, then they filed a lawsuit.
Oh no, I'd come out with my own commercial.
Yeah.
That is not a Nike shoe.
It doesn't stand for our brand. Doesn't stand for the people that wear our shoes, and
it's not a Nike shoe. It is a conversion.
Exactly.
Just like if I go buy a Chevy truck and turn it into some whack job truck, but I leave the Chevy emblem on it, it's not a Chevy truck. It's a conversion.
Yeah.
What other major mistake do you think people are making out there with their brands and their marketing?
I mean, you touched on a little bit. The biggest thing is patience. And I get it. You have to make sales in any business to stay alive. But what happens is you don't stick with, and that's why I cringe a little bit. We're talking about the part of Brad Lee, but if removing it now that you've spent all this time in it, but a lot of people abandon good ideas too quickly, and attention is fleeting. So you've got to, revamp and be relevant at all times. But what you see is people pull the plug really quickly on a brand or an idea or things like that, or don't take it to the next step. They just want something new.
So if somebody wants to try it without you, okay, how do you develop a campaign?
Well,
what's the process I need to go through?
Well, what are we selling?
Let's use chiropractic services.
Well, you have a logo. Are we a startup, or are they calling because they need a campaign because they're going out of business?
No, just a campaign like, almost like remember Wendy's a long time ago where the old lady said, "Where's the beef?" Like, to me, that's a campaign.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Or what's another couple famous campaigns?
Yeah. Well,
Steve Jobs' famous one is Think Weird, or no?
Different.
Yeah. Think Different. Austin, Texas says keep Austin weird. Like, what are?
Well, you got like Progressive now, like with Flo.
Oh yeah, like Flo.
Yeah, Flo. She's the brand.
But what's the campaign?
Yeah, but it starts with a creative brief. Like in an agency, the foundational components. This is where you blend it all. It starts with a creative brief, which is first back to that consumer. How do we want them to think, feel, and act? What's the consumer insight? So, for example, chiropractors. They're wanting people to come in because you got a bad back, right? So they're in pain. What's the consumer insight? We know that consumers with back problems have consistent pain. That pain is taking a daily toll on their lives. That's the consumer insight. Then you build a campaign off of that as being how you bring relief to that. What is your solution around that? That's the strategy. And then the creative ideas come out of that. When you have a good creative team or an ideated team, like, you start whiteboarding creative ideas towards those consumer insights and how you want them to think about that, built on consumer insight. What happens is a lot of times people want to just, I got a good tagline. And that's great, but it's not a campaign because you usually have goals in mind, or you have a consumer mindset in mind and something that you're trying to solve.
What do you think the most important platform is right now to advertise?
The problem is there's just so many, it's so scattered, attention scattered, TikTok is probably still trajectory-wise the fastest growing, but if you're a chiropractor, it makes sense. I'm not saying it's definitely becoming more mainstream, but if you're in B2B, you need to be on LinkedIn. If you're marketing to 15 to 30-year-olds, you need to be on TikTok. And you can't ignore Facebook and Instagram in the middle there. But what you can't do is, and what we see, the largest brands still get stuck in, they develop a 30-second TV spot that they want to force feed into the same all the platforms, and it doesn't work because attention is different on each one. The expectation of the content, the expectation of the experience with the brand's different. And if they just see a 30-second TV spot on TikTok, they're gone in 1 second. You're getting swiped faster than they can hit the button. And so the problem, though, is you use the 80-20 rule. I like to use that with clients. 80% of your business is going to come from 20% segment, 20% of people or segment. And where are those people at?
So I guess I'm trying to get you to drop a few bombs on, because there's some people that are not going to be able to afford an agency. Yep. They're just getting started.
Yep.
So, like, if you were just getting started, or your brother was just getting started in a business, and you couldn't really afford to help him, but you wanted to give him some good advice, what would you tell a person just starting up, about how to get at least going on marketing, do it yourself marketing?
Yeah.
Like, what would you tell them?
Start with a website.
Well, everyone's got a website now, don't they?
Yeah, but start with a good website. Yeah.
So how important is that?
It's the most important piece. It's where people first start. to learn about you.
So don't build it yourself, or what would you use to build it?
How
do you write the copy? Who should write the copy?
Yeah, you've got to write it yourself if you started the business plan. If you're talking about a solopreneur.
Yeah. Well, that's how you start, usually, solopreneurs. I'm not talking about a well-funded startup. I'm talking about a fucking dude out there or girl out there trying to freaking, start a business by themselves.
Yeah.
That's how I started Lightspeed, dude. I didn't have any money. Nobody freaking funded Lightspeed. I literally had to go get a website. I found people, paid people, got it up, knocked on doors. In fact, the first Lightspeed sale I made, Lightspeed wasn't even built yet. I used that money to help build it.
Yeah. I would hire a freelancer, even if you're a solopreneur. You can't do everything.
But do the website. What would be next? For marketing?
Yeah. PR.
Hire a PR company? Do you think they're worth it?
No, I wouldn't even necessarily hire a PR company. I would do PR. Get out there. I mean, PR's, earned media, which is make friends with the Chamber of Commerce and all the local journals and, get known by them so that you become the subject matter expert that they go to for stuff. And that's not, you don't have to pay for that. It's just sweat equity.
You going to write a book one day or no?
Forever date.
What's that mean?
The importance of lifetime value in a cookieless world. Because consumer brands to this day.
Yeah, but did you have a book or you're going to write that book?
That's the title of it, Forever Date. You're all brands that forever date their customers win. When you get married, you get comfortable. And what happens when you're comfortable? You don't appreciate them. You don't love them. You don't do things. But when you're forever dating, you have to keep your customer for always. Chivalry is never dead in marketing.
You always got to keep it sizzly.
But what happens is brands and people are so focused. And look, you're talking about new business, but once you're established, we're all hyper-focused on growing new instead of taking care of old.
That's a good one. Explain that a little deeper.
Your relationship with your customers is the most important relationship that you have because they are going to fuel your business because they're going to stay loyal. But the referrals, the amplification that you get around every customer from them sharing that experience. I think that lifetime value of a customer in the long term, to date, it's taken a long time to get, okay, I can look at it and see they've been with how long, and they spend this much a month, and you can do that value. The holy grail of lifetime value then is the family tree around that customer. How many people have they referred, and what's that value? And nurturing that relationship. Customer relationship management is the most important and lost art of marketing. CRM.
That's you better pay attention. And what's the opposite of that? Okay, pissing off a customer. I always tell people, you know what's worse than no customer? A pissed off customer. People are always like, dude, I just want a customer. You don't want a pissed off customer. I was talking about that one earlier. Dude, that's why I say, here, go away happy. Just, I'd rather not have a customer than a pissed off customer. Because a pissed off customer, dude, is going to cost you more business than you can possibly imagine, which is the opposite of what you just said. So not only worry about your damn customer satisfaction and the relationship and the nurture and the keeping it new, but, dude, worry about pissing one off.
LTL, lifetime loss from that relationship.
It could be ridiculously huge.
Yeah.
And
that tree could be big. Is usually bigger because people like to talk about the bad more than the good, unfortunately.
Well, I'm not going to name any names here, but, someone couldn't come to my event recently. And did I mention I'm having an event? Oh, yeah, I did. This is why this episode's got to drop soon. But if you guys haven't got tickets to my event, go get them. bradley.com/real success. Go follow Ryan Alford at Ryan Alford. Go to his company if you guys want some marketing help, radical.company. But somebody called me. They bought a ticket, and they didn't call me. They bought a ticket, and they said, they emailed in and said, hey, a wedding is taking place I didn't know about. I can't come to your event. I said, no problem. I gave them back their money. And they had been to another event company where they didn't want, there was no refunds. It's posted right there, no refunds. I'm not here to get your money, bro. I'm here to help you. So, like, fortunately, I have money, and I don't need people's money. So there you go. There's your money. Because I'm worried about lifetime. What did you just say?
Lifetime value.
Yeah, I'm worried about lifetime value. That dude might end up
or
being
lifetime loss.
Or loss. Yeah, that was it. I'm not worried about your money. I'm worried about, can I help you? Is there a value there? Can I provide you value, solve problems, et cetera, et cetera? So I'm like, give them back their money. Even the couple people here said, sure. I think it says no refunds. I'm like, well, number one, take that off. Number two, yeah, give them back their money. It's plenty of time. Like, I understand the day before if I spent a bunch of money and reserved a bunch of shit for you, but like, dude, it's still 2, 3, 4 weeks away. Or no, a couple weeks away. So I said, go ahead, give them back your money. The dude wrote me an email. Turns out to freaking have some sort of kick-ass shit going on in Oregon up in July. That it's like this Pendleton party where he brings in the biggest like names and shit, country, Post Malone, Eric Church, like all these different people. He said, dude, that was the coolest shit ever. There's not many people left like that. I appreciate it. I'll come to your other events. Plus, I own this promotion. You want to come up and be VIP, triple VIP with Eric Church and I forget who else. But like big names and, backstage and all this shit. And I'm like, absolutely. I'll be in Oregon coincidentally at the same time. That goes to show, again, you got to focus on relationships. Relationships are the new currency. Relationships are the new economy. A customer that you have is worth more, I think, than a customer that you might get.
Oh, way more. And what you just described, though, is another problem. It's called short-termism. Short-termism. I'm only focused on the today. So I'm not going to give you that refund. It's scarcity. The scarcity person says, oh, I'm not going to get that back, or they're staying on it. It's playing the short term. The long term is that relationship, playing the long game.
And it could be your reputation.
That's right.
You never know who it is you're talking to, first of all. Second of all, even if you did and you're like, screw you, dude, I earned this money. And then that person goes and tells 4 people that literally turns out to be some social media influencer, some blogger, some freaking person whose dad's an attorney general. Like, you never know shit. Like, dude, just be ethical, take care of your customers, and focus on that lifetime relationship or the opposite, the lifetime loss value. That's freaking bomb central. Well, dude, I appreciate you coming in. I know I told you I'd only take an hour of your time. It's been over an hour, but I appreciate you swinging in here and dropping bombs on these fools.
I love it, Brad. Love all you're doing and your realness. And but you're doing a lot of great things, and I've enjoyed listening to your podcasts, and it's a pleasure to be on.
Well, I'm glad you came in. I'll go check out your podcast, the Radcast, folks. If you guys haven't heard the Radcast, go check it out. Radical.company, at Ryan Alford on social media. If you guys need some freaking marketing help, and look for his book in the future. I don't know if you're selling it pre-sale.
I'm writing it now.
Well, I pre-sold my book. It's still not out a year later. People are always asking, when's it coming? When's it coming? Dude, it's clearly a pre-sale, bro. You want your money back? And by the way, I always ask people, they're like, no, I'll wait. But dude, get it out there for sale right now on your website. Cause dude, listen, I've put probably 6,000 $29 bills in the bank, which is paying for the freaking nicer books and the nicer shit. If you're self-publishing, I'm self-publishing.
Yeah, I will.
So I'd get it up and out there. You already know the name of it. You already know what it's going to be. And not only that, that adds pressure. Like right now, I was going to take 10 days and go down to Costa Rica, 4 Seasons in Costa Rica. And I said, dude, I got to finish that freaking book. So I'm not allowed to go on vacation until I finish it. It adds that pressure. I
like it.
Dude, yeah. and not to mention, dude, you can start getting that publicity.
Yeah.
And then when you come out with it, dude, the 6,000 orders, it hits instantly, and now you become a bestseller.
You got me motivated. I got to do it. I'm always motivated, but I just have always, it's been on my back burner, and I got to get it out there.
There it is, dudes. Forever date Ryan Alford. Follow his ass and then share this shit out because someone listening might need marketing help. Till next time, keep it real.
Dropping bombs with the real Bradley. Subscribe now.